you for coming over today. I really am excited that we're going to head out and check out some of Dan's spots. What type of fish are we going to look for today?
Well, he loved to catch trout on a cork rig or a jerk bait and make long drifts, so we're going to do a little bit of that and do a little snook fishing at some of his favorite islands. And we got some special names for them, and we're going to go over there and see if we can catch a couple.
Beautiful. That would be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time. So.
A little chilly today?
It is.
How's
cold
the
front, windy. That's what he threw at us, so that's what we're going to go deal with.
Dan approved.
Absolutely. And he would tell you, if you can't catch him in this weather, don't go out there, because he could.
That's it.
That's 100% true. B, I think we should hook up the old black boat out there and take it out for today with Becky.
That would be.
She's all cleaned up, ready to go.
She's all clean, ready to go.
So going into today, we really just wanted to go cruise around on Dan's boat and try to catch a couple fish. And looking at the weather this week, it's been really challenging. I mean, we had a huge front yesterday and big winds and cold weather today, but we still wanted to go give it a try. And just being out there and in his boat and with his wife Becky and JC, one of my best friends, and Dan's best friends, it was really special to get out there, and we just made do with what we had. Miss Beck, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
So today's fishing extravaganza was based on that upon Dan's passing, that I never lose my spirit on fishing. I love fishing. Actually, I was like a Homosassa fisher girl. Dan was the Christian River fishing guy as a kid growing up, and we literally lived the same lives. And so once we met, he knew rivers, I knew rivers, and the stories just blended together. So him and I were actually like, I'm gonna call us like river rats or soulmates for the sea. And that is one thing he did not want. If anything was ever to happen to him, that my friends, his friends, our family, his brotherhood, always made sure that I kept on fishing, because again, it's a tradition that will continue. He gave me actually a bucket list of fish that I must accomplish. We had a bucket list together. We got majority of them, but there's still some that need to be caught. And that is my mission from January until God's will. I will get those fish caught, and they will be in honor of Dan.
Well, it's a little breezy today, and we're gonna go to one of Dan's favorite snook spots, Bird Key.
We're gonna give it hell.
See what we can make happen, and we got a high tide this morning. It's a lollygagger's day for Dan, but we're gonna go see if we can find a couple.
Like you said, if you can't catch one in this weather, you can't catch one at all.
That's right.
I met Dan for the first time probably at the Pete's Pier dock when I was fishing a Trout Masters tournament. And I remember, like, I thought that I had done well. Brought in 5 fish, good fish. Nah, not nothing compared to what Dan brought in. He pulled in, lifted up his live well, had them all iced down. Said, oh yeah, got this one in the bag. That was the first time I really met him. I was young, probably 14 or 15 years old.
Uh-oh, hooked up, baby. Tight.
Sit.
He is on the board. Quick release. Talk too soon. Let him get off.
right, JC, what are we gonna do about this wind? Do you think it's gonna happen today?
I don't know. It's blowing, what, 30 knots?
Yeah.
And temperature drop, water temp drop. I don't know if it's going to be possible.
Even if it is a Dan Lucky spot?
Even if it's a Dan Lucky spot.
Hey, the backup plan is always lollygaggers on a windy day.
There you go. And what does lollygaggers have?
Heinekens.
Heinekens.
Heinies.
Always a Heineken.
Fish on.
Fish on.
Woo, good. Very nice, Brandon.
Well,
Well,
we got the skunk off the boat. What do you do in 30-mile-an-hour winds? You go catch trout.
That's it.
and drift, make the long drifts.
Long drifts. Everyone knows that Dan loved catching grouper, but he really loved to catch trout. Don't ask me why, but he loved it. He loved throwing cork rigs. He loved throwing jerk baits. He loved making really long drifts. And that's what we were going to do today. It was going to be tough to catch anything else. And we went trout fishing and ended up catching a few and just kind of did the old things that he liked to do. And it was really awesome.
Hey guys, the weather is getting really rough. What do you think about making it a true Dan day and going back to the lollygaggers?
I am in. I'm over
down.
it.
You ready
This
for
is
it?
ridiculous.
Yep.
All right,
Let's do it.
let's go get some garbage wings and some Heineken.
Sounds good to me.
It didn't work out as planned with the wind and weather and tide, so we had to go to plan B, and that's having a Dan Clymer day. We enjoyed each other's company and ended up going to lollygaggers, having some chicken wings, and that's something we did on bad weather days, all of us together. And it was just really special to be able to do that with them.
Thanks, buddy.
We're fishing in maybe one of my favorite regions of all the Florida Peninsula, and that's the Nature Coast Zone. This is Homosassa, Florida.
My experience with snook fishing here is probably a 1-to-3 ratio.
That is the one.
Oh, he got off.
He got off right there. Dun, dun, dun.
It's just a good time.
When I first started planning the trip with Dan Clymer, I was pretty much thinking we were going to do a grouper episode. He had been kind of the known kingpin of grouper up here for a long time. He was the guy, if you were going to get it done and you were going to get it done one day, you went with Dan Clymer, period. Now, there are a lot of fledgling and young guides that he's mentored that are as good as they get right now. They honestly are. But when we had to actually do the episode, we ended up falling back to, I would say, his second favorite species. And that's arguable because the name of Dan's charter business is Racin' Mullet. Now, for those of you that aren't real up to par on your redneck semantics, a Racin' Mullet is a snook. So I would say snook by far and away would have to be his number 2, if his not number 1 fish to target. That is the one.
Ooh, yeah. He showed himself to us, didn't he?
Yeah, he gave his 20 away, as the truckers like to say. Just nice even pressure. I deal with this same issue with subaquatic vegetation.
Oh, he got off.
He got off right there. And that's what happens. That was a nice fish. It was a lot bigger fish than I thought too. They get down in there, and with plugs sometimes it's tougher because they get down in that grass, and if there's a loose treble swinging, it'll grab onto that kelp grass, and then it changes the direction of the pull and they get off. Dun, dun, dun. One of the reasons we're fishing with Dan Clymer, other than the fact that he's got a sterling reputation in Citrus County, is the fact that he's a MirrOlure Pro Staff guide. Captain Dan Clymer's reputation is a big one. He's always been known as the guide of guides along the Nature Coast, anything from Hernando County all the way through Levy County. And even those of us that were working and recreating there in Tampa Bay knew about Dan. But I officially met Dan through the Plantation Inn here in Crystal River, because I sent a lot of my clientele here. And also Mirror. Eric Bachnick was a good friend of Dan Clymer, and he encouraged me to try to get into his schedule and shoot a Flats Class episode, because he said, you know, things have changed north of the Tampa area. Now the water is getting a little bit warmer, there's more snook there. It'd be a good opportunity to do a great hard bait show up there, because he had just come up to fish with Dan and had known how good the fishing was. So I set it up with Dan. It took a while to get into Dan's schedule, and then lo and behold, it was 2 days before Tropical Storm Hermine wreaked havoc on this area. Oh yeah. You're right where you're supposed to be, right? Sitting in the tide. Ooh. And I do not have the proverbial TV host drag on either. I didn't intend for anything to get me in trouble. That was a good hit.
He had some company.
Yeah, and he had 2 or 3 of his disciples with him.
He did.
You can tell the big difference between the way these fish pull and the way a snook makes that big run and tries to get airborne and free himself in a number of ways. In the tide, he's fighting even a little bigger than what he should be. I gotta try to steer him out of this stuff. I feel like I'm salmon fishing somewhere in the river.
Pretty fish, man.
What did
He ate it.
Did he eat it or what?
He knows about those mirror lures.
He knows trouble's coming. Ooh, that is an absolute bruiser. That is a Citrus County bruiser, Captain Dan.
So nicely done.
And you have shown us around today, fishing some of the areas that I previously had felt uncomfortable about visiting. Now that's the caliber of redfish that you can expect to catch here along the Nature Coast, and we're hoping maybe later today we can show you a snook of the right caliber for this same area, because there are some big snook up here, and if we keep punching along, we're gonna get one today. Oh, he was right on top of it. It's gonna be a good one. You know, 10 or 15 years ago, you didn't hear about anglers north of Pasco County catching snook. Now we have a healthy snook population here in the Nature Coast zone. When I fished with Dan, he thought it was an absolute guarantee, because of the storm and the dropping barometer and us power fishing with the Mirrodines, that we were gonna crush the snook. Now, we did catch snook, and he caught one hell of a snook on a popular point where the current just kind of slams into a wall and then goes around it. So those snook, he said those snook will sit right down there where there's a washout, where they're kind of out of the current. And if you can make a presentation over the top of them and work it, they'll come right up and just smoke it. He understood the ways of the hydrology or the hydrodynamics of this area, and how wind and tide sets you up for success. And I'm still using a lot of the stuff that Dan shared with me to this day, not so much spots, but the way the water moves through a zone to still be successful as a guide myself. There you go, Dan. That's the one we were after.
See what you got here. Ooh, nice snook. Nature Coast special, my man.
Dan has done his best today to put us where the fish are. This one here is just locking them up.
Mm-hmm. He actually I think he got me wrapped around a little bit of that kelp grass we've been fishing.
I think what happened is that treble got caught up in that grass a little bit. Trying to keep the even pressure so you don't lose the fish. You
Feel
don't
'em.
get too many days where you can fish with someone like yourself
Ooh, look at that
in
fish.
an area like this. What a gorgeous fish. I'd definitely say this is the way to end the day.
I love it, man.
Unbelievable way to end the day.
Ain't that mirror lure too. Woo! Dancing for us, isn't he?
Doing a good job. All right. Let's see if we gotta be friendly here. Let me get you upside down.
Wow,
Still tail walking.
That's a healthy fish, man.
Beautiful fish. Dan, what a way to end the day.
Absolutely.
I mean,
man.
with a healthy specimen like that, that's a solid, 29 incher, almost 30 probably. And we got not too much work to do here to get the hook out of it.
Here she goes.
Nice job, Dan.
Thank you, sir.
That is the way you do it.
Something that I really want people to know about Dan, because Dan is a well-renowned fisherman. He has been on the cover of many magazines. He is awesome at catching variety of fish. Like shallow water grouper is his thing. He dialed it in at a young age and he kept pursuing it, and he made a living, a great living out of catching grouper. But something that a few people know, and some that have seen some videos lately, is Dan was an awesome guitar player. He idolized Eddie Van Halen, and he could play like Eddie Van Halen. These musicians that have a raw, amazing talent to make a guitar talk, that's what Dan had. He would come in here and just make the walls shake. And it was awesome because you felt like you were at a concert, but it's really the man you love, just right on the other side of the door, just rocking it out.
Dan was a musician. Probably better than he was a fisherman. Old homeboy could play on a guitar like no other.
If it was a bad weather day, he was either gonna be playing his guitar, tying a couple flies, or drinking Heinekens at the bar with his buddies.
Dan was probably one of the most likable guys. You know, if you met Dan and didn't like him, it was your problem.
Some people would act like they were interested. He was interested.
He was just so humble. It doesn't matter if it's Joe Blow that he's never met coming up, a new guy, he's still going to take the time and give those guys respect.
I think all of us younger guys had something to learn from Dan, not only on the water and catching fish, but just to be a good person and treat people, fair.
There was one more thing that Dan could tell me. It would be that he was proud of me. He told it to me all the time. That's what he would say. He would say he's proud of me.
He'd always walk up to me, give me a hug, and go, "What's up, Daddy-O?" And I think I missed that the most. All right, the one thing you could count on if you were fishing artificials with Dan Clymer was you were gonna throw hard baits. Now, all that being said, he loved a nose-rigged 5-inch jerk shad, but when it really comes down to it and he says you want to catch fish on the Nature Coast, you better be throwing a MirrOlure Mirrodine. There's two versions. There's an MR17 in this size that is a slow sinker that kind of rocks down, and then there's the MR18, which is the heavy Dean. Now, he preferred to throw this MR18 in many cases when we had a strong tide coming through a pinch point or a choke where you had to get the bait down to depth, or you were fighting some wind and you needed to be able to drive it through the wind to make accurate casts. He did like the MR18 a lot, the heavy Dean. Now, these baits come in a variety of colors, and now at MirrOlure we even have custom colors. I have many of my own. Actually, Captain Dan Clymer has his own custom colored MR17, and I'm sure that one is going to be a legacy bait for MirrOlure, and they'll be out there forever. It's probably the #1 selling bait at MirrOlure is the MR17. If you want a solid delivery system, I like throwing these medium and medium light. This happens to be a new favorite rod for me to throw this on. This is a 6'8" medium light Terramar PX. This is a Shimano rod built for the inshore market, and probably my new favorite spinning reel. out of Shimano is the Sustain FJ. They've made some significant improvements to this, this reel setup. And what I like about it the most is it gives you all the flagship features that you would see in Stella and Twin Power and some of those high-end spinning reels, and they brought it down into the Sustain, and it's just a bulletproof reel. I've got it packed with 8-pound, this is 8-pound Power Pro Super Slick V2, and I've got probably about 3.5, 4 feet of that 20-pound, and then you'll notice right here in the last 10, 12 inches, the last foot, I put a piece of 40-pound bike tippet on, and I've got that with a little no-name knot that I connected it to the 20. The reason for, there's a lot of snook around here, and in much of the water that Dan and I fish together, this is one of those setups that you really need if you're gonna catch big snook. And let me tell you, big snook, they destroy mirrodines and most of the topwater surface walker mirrorlures. They really hammer those baits. So that's it, a simple, quick tip from Dan Clymer and myself to make you a better angler here on the Nature Coast.